Okay, here we go. So, I will just get back to the chat. Here we go. All right, Jon VIII. Okay, Jon VIII from A Storm of Swords. The chapter where Jon is picking up the pieces from the wildlings' attack, literally picking up the pieces because debris, from the staircase that was set ablaze and then collapsed. You remember Donald Noy's plan, and the wildlings seem to be going, aha, you ain't seen nothing yet. So, okay, welcome, dear listener, to the incoherent ramblings of an insane person online, me. We are reading George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire, and right now we are about to sink our teeth into Jon VIII, or Jon III in Roman numerals, or indeed Jon VIII. Ah, but I hear you ask, surely wasn't Jon VIII also a pope? Yes, I'm glad you asked, because Jon VIII was indeed not only the pope, the name of a pope between 872 and 882 Anno Domini, but also a Byzantine emperor from 1425 to 1448. You'll be pleased to know, dear listener. Okay, History Corner dealt with. Sorry, I had to do this, but really, okay, let's get into our Jon. Okay, all right, just for a change. Yeah, I enjoy doing these things every now and then. Should I stop? You're saying? Yeah, we'll see. Okay, the chapter. Right, let's get back to the chapter. Storm of Swords. It starts off with our good old Jon Snow having a dream, which, to anyone with a good memory, it cannot but feel like a reference, an echo, so to speak, of Jaime's dream in Jaime 6. You know the one. I dreamed of you, said Jaime to Brienne the next day after he had that dream. That's how significant the dream was. And just as Jaime dreamed he was in the caverns below Casterly Rock, Jon dreams he's in the crypt beneath Winterfell. I was thinking Wonderwall for some reason. God, I'm not really with it today. Wonderwall, the Oasis song. No, Winterfell. Jon this time dreams he's in the crypts beneath Winterfell, not Wonderwall. And in both dreams, Jaime's and Jon's, the POV characters' ancestors are there, sort of staring at the guy, at the POV character. But that's where the similarities end, because while the ancestors' voices in Jaime's dream are all like, this is your place, you belong here, welcome home and all that. In Jon's dream, his ancestors, speaking through the stone statues, the kings of winter, down in the crypts, they're not so welcoming, they're just like, what are you doing here? What are you even doing here? You're no Stark. You don't belong here. So it's just the opposite, really. Then he spots a grey direwolf, which I wager is Grey Wind, because he's covered in blood. It's a regular dream, I think, not one of those clairvoyant sort of thing, type dreams, So in Jon's dream, Grey Wind is simply covered in Rob's blood, I imagine, and he's not missing his head. If Jon had an actual vision, he would know that Grey Wind was beheaded at the Red Wedding, but no, he still has his head on his shoulders. And in fact, Jon wakes up in such a state of confusion that he thinks the direwolf from his dream was actually Bran's direwolf, Summer, which, I don't know, it might be, because the last time he saw him, it was covered in blood. It was covered in fens, in wildlings' blood. Because he remembers seeing Summer at Queen's Crown without Bran, unfortunately. Actually, Summer did more than just show up at Queen's Crown. He actually helped Jon escape from the Thanes, by attacking them. So who knows? Is it summer? Is it grey wind? Anyway, there's no time for Jon or us to puzzle out the dream because someone is blowing the horn. Yeah, twice. That's twice for wildlings. That's the signal among the Night's Watch, on the wall. A single blast, brothers returning. 2 blasts, wildlings attacking. We know that from the prologue in this same book, Storm of Swords. So, so Jon realizes that this is a summoning, and I'm just turn the page, so off to the wall, chop chop. He gets dressed and heads to the wall. The Valyrian sword, long claw sheathed on his back because the situation requires it. All the while thinking, do you know what? About time, right? Yeah, you know what? Let them attack, I say. Let them attack. At least we'll have a proper battle and we'll finally be able to sleep for a change. Even if it means, sleeping in our graves, because this psychological warfare of sleep deprivation is bullshit. Yeah, there, I said it. And he spots other brothers of the Night's Watch, making their way to the top of the wall. The process is taking longer now because they all have to use the elevator. Okay, and I know it's not an actual elevator, ding. It's operated with a winch, by humans. So there they all are, Satin, Mully, Spare Boot, Kegs, plus some other Moltonians, moles. I think they're just called moles. Plus some moles who are not sworn brothers yet, like Zay, who used to work as a sex worker in Mole Town before she found out she was a proper badass with a crossbow. And then there's this guy Hareth, who happens to have a set of teeth like a horse. His nickname is actually Horse, and guess what he used to be in Mole Town? That's right, a stable hand. I mean, really, he was born to that career. Anyway, so they're all there, kind of like walking to your workplace. Imagine that, waiting in front of the elevator. Imagine the scenario, desperate to find some topic of conversation, just the bare minimum to make small talk by the elevator. Ooh, so great weather we're having. Yeah, no, yeah. Did you lose weight? Yeah, that sort of thing. And the equivalent of the water cooler in this scenario is a 3-fingered Hobbs who's distributing hot mulled wine because no, we're not having nice weather, by the way. No, you need something to warm yourself up. So he's pouring hot mulled wine in the brothers' cups, with a ladle, and then giving out some stale bread. Yeah, better than nothing, I suppose. And Satting is a bit nervous, because he's a bit of it's sort of like panic-stricken when a platoon of Thanes. He was panic-stricken when a platoon of Thanes were attacking Castle Black. So imagine now that Mance Rayder is attacking with a full force of tens of thousands of free folk, right? But Jon is all like, nah, mate. Yeah, you know what? There's worse things than wildlings. Like Mance explained it to me. That the dead people walk the earth. That's what he said up north, And I saw what those undead can do. I saw what they did to our camp at the Feast of the First Men. So yeah, it was not pretty, let me tell you. That's right, Jon. And when and if you should catch up with Samuel Tarly, who witnessed the attack firsthand. Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to tell you, dear listener, whether or not Jon does catch up with Sam eventually, because I don't know if I've already said it, if I've already relayed my spoiler policy, but here it goes. In the off chance you might be a first-time reader, I will endeavor to keep these commentaries 100% spoiler-free. Okay, whatever reference I might make to other chapters and books in the Song of Ice and Fire they will be references to past chapters and books and not future ones, you know? In other words, I'll be looking back and not ahead. I imagine you made it this far, you've read all the chapters until and including this one, but no more than that. How does that sound? Okay, so let's proceed. Right. Anyway, so yeah, the cage finally makes it to the ground floor, and after a vertigo-inducing upward journey, they make it to the top of the wall, where the cold has an even more aggressive bite, because 700 feet high, for God's sake. I'd be surprised if it didn't. Oh, and the wind. Hey, don't get me started on the wind. Yeah. So, yeah, and there's everything on top of the wall in terms of weaponry. Here we go. Quarrels, arrows, spears, and scorpion bolts, trebuchet, rocks piled 10 feet high, big wooden barrels of pitch and lamp oil lined up beside them. Well, literally everything. Too bad there aren't enough men to operate all those things, you know. Yeah, they're a bit short of personnel right now. At best, what they have is a bunch of scarecrows, you know, straw sentinels, they call them, placed there on top of the wall, just like they were positioned on top of King's Tower in the previous chapter and other towers, just to intimidate the enemy, because they're supposed to look like real sworn brothers of the Watch if you don't look too closely. And Jon points at one of those straw sentinels, you know, cracks a joke. I sure hope it wasn't one of them guys who blew the horn, you know what I mean? Badum-tish. See, he's a barrel of laughter, this Jon guy, isn't he? Sticking with the pointy end. I hope it wasn't a straw sentinel who blew the horn. You know, yeah, these guys are rave at parties. So, yeah, and among the various sounds they can hear coming from the forest down below on the other side of the wall, there's voices, horses, and mammoths. Yeah, which is making them super nervous, because they might be able to hear the enemy, but they can't see them except for thousands of little torches. Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot to tell you. We're in the middle of the night right now. So, yeah, so they shoot a few barrels of burning tar. No, not tar. What do you call it? Pitch, burning pitch. What's the difference between tar and pitch? Yeah. Anyway, it goes swing, you know, with the catapults into the night, at which point Jon gets a better view of what's stirring in the forest, you know, because because this thing, the damn thing is ablaze, so he can get a better view, a glance of what's stirring in the forest when a barrel sets a tree on fire, only to realize that what he thought was at best, yeah, I know, I'm getting to that. The cat is getting impatient. Yeah, all right, we're getting there. We're getting there. Don't you worry about that. What he thought was like was at best like a dozen mammoths, is in fact hundreds of them. Can you imagine hundreds of mammoths just out there, you know, ready to attack? We are screwed, he thinks, as would I. So Red Wiley, turns out it was him who blew the horn. He blows it again, you know, just for sport. And this time the wildlings respond with a whole orchestra. You know, they got a whole orchestra. The horns, flutes, drums, pipes, sax, double bass, you name it. They've got the lot. A whole orchestra of wildlings. As if to say, that's right, ha, we are here. We're the bloody foreigners, and we're coming to take your jobs. Ha ha. Or whatever complaints you happen to have about us, you know. Plow your lands, steal your daughters, steal your lands, plow your daughters. We're flexible. We don't particularly, you know, it doesn't matter, you know, that the order of things. We'll just do the whole thing. But yeah, they are coming closer, you know. In fact, they're at the gate, Pip informs us. And yeah, because there's no way to breach the wall, right? So they're trying to take the gate. Except that the gate, here, let me read you the quote. The gate was a crooked tunnel through the ice, smaller than any castle gate in the Seven Kingdoms, so narrow that rangers must lead their garrons through single file. 3 iron grates, closed the inner passage, each locked and chained and protected by a murder hole. Love that name, murder hole. It's an architectural feature. The murder hole. And the outer door was old oak, 9 inches thick and studded with iron. Not easy to break through, but man's had mammoths, Jon reminded himself, and giants as well. Yep. Even sending down a whole bunch of jars alight, with lamp oil, doesn't do much to stifle the shouts, pipes, drums, and whatnot. So drunken Septon Celador thinks this is an opportune moment to start singing a little prayer, slurring his words, as I do, and as he often does, indeed, because he's drunk, and until Donald Noy, threatens to throw him off the wall. If you don't stop, you're going down with a catapult. We'll show them that we're not afraid to sacrifice our own septons. So yeah, unless you shut up. Because the lyrics, he has a problem with the lyrics because the lyrics are a bit too, on the pacifist side. You know what I mean? It's a gentle mother, stay the sword. Yeah, no, that's not what Donald Noy wants to hear right now. To infuse his sworn brothers with battle enthusiasm. Stay the swords. I don't think so. In fact, the next order Donald gives is to fire some arrows out there, in the general direction of the forest, even though they can't see the target, at which point he heads back to the ground floor, which with 4 other brave lads to try and hold the gate, down there, because that's kind of like their weakest link, you see. And what else? Oh, are you ready for it? He leaves Jon in command of the wall. Yeah, well, of the top of the wall. And besides, I guess you already knew that if you have made it to the end of this chapter, right? He will be made. He'll be given the command of the entire wall, the Castle Black, anyway. If you know this, if you have made it to the end of this chapter, if you haven't, what are you even doing here? Go and read the chapter. Oh, okay, right. Anyway, so Jon can hardly believe the whole thing. He goes, yeah, sure. Me on top of in charge of this garrison here, this platoon. Yeah, sure. Me, a green recruit, wounded in a leg, accused of desertion, treason, and what have you. Sure. But Donald Noy, won't have none of those objections. He goes, yeah, you got hearing problems? Sir, no, sir. Okay, then you heard me. You're in charge of the wall. That's an order. Sir, yes, sir. All right, then steady as you were, big boy. Come here, you. And then he grabs Jon and he rubs his knuckles on Jon's hair and he spanks him on the ass and leaves. Okay, no, he doesn't do any of those things. In fact, you might have noticed that this dialogue is slightly paraphrased. No, but he does head back down to defend the gate. That he does do, yeah. And for the sentinels on top of the wall, as for them, they keep firing those arrows. How many do they have? I mean, can they afford to waste so many? Because they're shooting them in the dark, basically. Shot in the dark, as Ozzy Osbourne used to sing. Maybe still does. So anyway, Septon Celador, starts his chanting again, which makes Jon consider that maybe Donald Noy might have had a point. He'd want him to push him down the edge of the wall. And the trebuchets are going in full swing, no pun intended. But the trouble is that they're fixed. They're always firing ammo in the same spots. So the wildlings have kind of learned simply not to stand in those spots. And Donald Noy is still not coming back. Okay, how is he going down there? Things are like tough. Like in an assembly line, these three orphan boys keep passing John arrows upon arrows, and he keeps firing them all night. Oh yeah, that's right, I forgot to tell you that the Night's Watch has also adopted these three orphan boys from Moletown. George R. R. Martin hasn't given us their names. All right, Groucho, Harpo, and Chico. Yeah, all right. Well, how about that? Huey, Dewey, and Louie. Yeah, I don't know. Three orphan boys from Moletown. Anyway, so before John realizes it, it's already dawn. Oh, sunrise. So they can now see the swath of land between the wall and the edge of the forest, which the Night's Watch have turned into a wasteland of blackened grass, bubbling pitch, shattered stone. That's not very environmentally friendly. How dare you! Because they've been firing that stuff on the, that patch of land between the wall and the forest. No, but really, this is where they can finally appreciate just how many wildlings have come for this assault. And how many are there? How many, you ask? Why, all of them. Simply all of them. Here, let me read you the list. There you go. Raiders and giants, wargs and skin changers, mountain men, salt sea sailors, hello sailor, ice river cannibals, cave dwellers with dyed faces, dog chariots from the frozen shore, horned-foot men with their souls like boiled leather, all the queer wild folk man's had gathered to break the wall. This reminds me of a similar list from the movie Blazing Saddles. Do you remember that? Wait. I know I've got it written down right here, because you never know when you might need it. Here we go. Every vicious criminal and gunslinger in the West. Rustlers, cutthroats, murderers, bounty hunters, desperados, mugs, pugs, thugs, nitwits, halfwits, dimwits, vipers, snipers, conmen, Indian agents, Mexican bandits, muggers, buggerers, bushwhackers, hornswogglers, horse thieves, bull dykes, train robbers, bank robbers, ass kickers, shit kickers, and Methodists. Yeah, you need those. Yeah, all right. So anyway, basically the north beyond the wall must be pretty empty right now, I was thinking. Except maybe that one guy, one guy who forgot to set the alarm. Can you imagine that? Yeah, he woke up only to see his village completely deserted. Oh man, are they all gone? They couldn't even be bothered to wake me up. I can't believe it. Always like that. Anyway, so back to the wall. Because sure enough, yeah, they have a ram. The wildlings do have a ram. Yep. And the most humongous tree trunk you'll ever see, mate. Carried by giants, of course, riding mammoths. Now, that's something you don't see every day. And it's up to John to keep up the morale, because he's in charge now. And that's one of the things he's expected to do. So he keeps repeating, the wall will stop this mere hundreds of thousands of wildlings. You know how it is. The wall defends itself, remember? Yeah, but he doesn't sound too convincing, if you ask me. All right, Kegs, blow the battle horn again, will you? And then he orders all archers to rain arrows on those giants, their mammoths and the bloody ram they're carrying. The scene is really hysterical to the point that John can't help laughing, I mean, hysterical laughter. Deep down he knows that the battle is hopeless. And it's all notch, draw, lose, notch, draw, lose. And it seems to be effective for a while. Some giants go, oh, whoops, oh, I'm dead. Which is impressive when you think about it. And even when you stop thinking about it, it's still impressive. Considering that those arrows, as I said, have been shot from 700 feet into whether it's not dark anymore. But taking the wind into account, I don't know if you've ever tried that. See, it's not easy. Even one of the mammoths, goes berserk and starts running around, casually crushing wildlings left and right. So it's cocktail Molotov time now, because that mammoth, or perhaps a different one, is getting too close to the gate, and really he could literally kick the gate in just with a sneeze. That's how big and powerful mammoths are. And I'm saying cocktail Molotov, but it's really 2 whole barrels filled with oil and set alight by Merrin and Pippin. Sorry, I mean Gran and Pip. I know, but really, I've always pictured those two as kind of like the 2 hobbits. I mean, how are they not Merry and Pippin? There's no way those 2 are not Merry and Pippin. I mean, am I the only one who sees that? Yeah, I don't know. Oh, anyway, so they do hit the mammoth 700 feet below. Oh, animal cruelty. Nah, that's not cool. Yeah, but it's war. So what are you going to do, right? So the wildling ranks, begin to scatter. They all cheer a bit, and Zay gives Owen the Oath a big wet kiss. Oh, that's hot. And Jon goes, oh, no, not me. No, thank you, Zay. No, that's really sweet, but I'll pass on the kiss myself. No kisses for this big boy in a while, I'm afraid. Yeah. Is that because he's still mourning for Ygritte? I suppose. Yeah, I suppose that's the case. Yeah. So but now it's time for Jon to go back down the gate and check on Donal. So he leaves Gren in charge. The guy can hardly believe he's left in charge. I mean, this is just a repeat. Jon couldn't believe he was left in charge, and now Gren can't believe it. No, but Gren really, because me, no one has ever put me in charge of anything in my entire life. Yeah, you'll do fine. So it's back into the elevator. I mean the cage. So down he goes with Pip, his leg hurting like hell, And when they finally get down, it's Pip, who hops and skips his way to Maester Aemon. Maester Aemon's office, Maester Aemon's laboratory, whatever, room, solar, his study, whatever. Because he's the one who's got the Maester Aemon. He's the one who's got the spare key to the inner gate. That's what he says. Yeah, but wait, does that mean that when Donal Noy went inside the tunnel, he locked the gate behind him and the other 4 guys? Wow, that's ballsy. That's badass. Yeah, I bet he swallowed the key, while he was waiting for the wildlings to launch their offensive. Yeah, no turning back. All right. So anyway, when Pip comes back, he's not alone, because Aemon is with him and Clydas. And Aemon is all like, okay, well, you'd better come see me when you're done, Got to change your bandages and whatnot. Not to mention a sip of the old dream wine, yeah? He's really maternal, isn't he? Good old Maester Aemon, who actually comes with Jon to inspect the tunnel. Clydas holding the torch, which Aemon doesn't need because he's blind. Clydas is holding the torch for the other guys, while Pip has a look around and notices blood on the floor. And this does not look good. And here they do a bit of CSI, because they finally stumble upon Donal Noy's team, which is lying on the floor. They're all dead. And they figure out who died first and what happened, what kind of action took place here. So that's proper CSI. And apparently they died while taking down a giant, one single giant, who somehow still managed to rip apart the outer gate and make mincemeat of Donal's team. Jon actually remembers this giant in question because he's none other than Mag, the very first giant Jon saw, actually. Introduced to him and to us by Tormund Giantsbane back in Jon 2, the same book. And then he remembers Ygritte's, sadness at the giants being on the verge of extinction, and him going, No way, extinction. What are you talking about? I see like there's like hundreds of them. And Ygritte, as always, saying to him, "Oh, dude! As usual, your general knowledge of things is very poor at best, Jon Snow." Or simply, "You know nothing, Jon Snow." And all these thoughts, make Jon want to cry, especially when he sees more giants lying dead outside, as well as that mammoth. But there's no time for that, so he might as well dive into his work to take his mind off these sad thoughts. Okay, so the outer gate needs repairing for a start. Then he needs to stuff. Then obviously, we all need, as he's thinking, as Night's Watch sworn brothers, we need to stuff the tunnel with chunks, rubble, snow, whatever. And then someone should be put in charge now that Donald Noy is gone. Like, I don't know, Sir Winton Stout? Because he's a knight, so he qualifies for the job, doesn't it? Doesn't he, Maester Aemon? Don't you think? And Maester Aemon just looks at Jon and he goes... I mean, it doesn't literally look at him because he's blind, but you know what I mean. He just listens to Jon and nods his head, and then he goes, "Come on, Jon, really? Sir Winton Stout, really? You know full well that poor fella... I mean, you go and try to report the general situation to him. The poor fella is just going to smile at you, nod his head, and forget all about it a minute later. And then he's going to soil his pants, and then Clydas will have to clean him up. I mean, that that was my long and twisted way of saying that, yeah, poor Winton, might have been the man for the job like 10 or 20 years ago, but, the dude lost his marbles long ago, Okay, then I guess you, Maester, huh? No? Everyone listens to you. You take command. Temporarily? Jon, all right. I see you haven't been listening to a word I said. I just told you Winton isn't suited for the position on account of his age, and that is not quite there. Apologize for my phone, it just won't stop ringing. I just told you that Winton isn't suited for the position on account of his age, and then his mind is gone, and now you propose me. I'm like 100 years old, not to mention I'm blind, not to mention I'm a maester that is sworn to serve. My order forbids me from accepting any position of command. Plus, actually, I don't think I need another reason, do I? I mean, dude, no. Okay. A couple of thoughts here. First of all, that rule about maesters not allowed to take positions of command even in times of crisis. To be honest, it has been broken on occasions. If you think about Maester Luwin, for example, I mean, he didn't he, take on some executive duties in Winterfell when the place was overrun by the Ironborn, even though Bran was nominally in charge, I seem to remember. But more importantly, secondly, I forgot to say it at the beginning, but I guess this is as good a time as any to remind ourselves, if you're wondering, what about all those other guys who could step forward and fill the power vacuum right now? Like, not that I'm rooting for him, but what about Alistair Thorne? Well, you might remember that Alistair Thorne didn't come back from Eastwatch. Okay, you might remember all the way back in the Clash of Kings, he was sent to Eastwatch by the Sea, to King's Landing, in an effort to show the hand to the hand. Yeah, that's what he was trying to do. The twitching hand of an undead, of a White Walker, to the hand of the king, Tyrion Lannister at the time. Mission failed, by the way. On his way back to the Wall, he landed back at Eastwatch, and there he stayed. And I personally don't remember reading where and when Lord Commander Mormont or whoever else gave the order to Thorne to stay put at Eastwatch. I'm a bit fuzzy on the timing of his return, whether it coincides with Lord Commander Mormont or whoever else was in charge, not Bowen Marsh, possibly. Anyway, I don't remember reading anyone giving the order to Thorne to stay put at Eastwatch by the sea and not come all the way back to Castle Black, presumably with the intent and purpose of de-escalate the hostility between him and Jon Snow. But yeah, if you turn to the appendix of the same book, you'll see Thorne, Alistair Thorne, listed as Master of at Arms at Eastwatch by the Sea. So that's where he's at. Okay, so you might ask, what about, I don't know, like Janos Slynt? Another guy I don't necessarily root for, but yeah, didn't he also sail to Eastwatch on the very same ship that carried Alistair Thorne, if memory serves? Yeah, also, let's not forget that Tywin Lannister's letter was kind of pushing for Slynt to be promoted to the exact same position that now happens to be vacant. So why isn't Janos Slynt proposed to come to be put in charge? Well, by the way, remember the letter, right? From Tyrion 4. Hello, this is Tywin. Hi, I regret to inform you that we can spare no men just now to the Night's Watch, whilst so many rebels and usurpers remain in the field. I'm reading right now. However, matters might be quite different once the throne is secure, provided the king has full confidence in the leadership of the Watch. Oh, and wink wink, pass along his Grace's fondest regards to his faithful friend and servant, Lord Janos Slynt. Love, hugs, and kisses, Tywin. Okay, so where is Janos Slynt now? Well, even there, the appendix informs us that Slynt must have stopped at Eastwatch as well, so never made it to Castle Black either. So there they are, Alistair Thorne and Janos Slynt getting chummy at Eastwatch, because they have a lot of things in common, like, for example, their common hatred for Tyrion Lannister, for one thing. Okay, so who else could be there? Well, Bowen Marsh. Yeah, what about him? Yeah, well, Bowen Marsh. He's not there either, because he fell for the decoy deployed by the wildlings, in order the decoy that the wildlings deployed in order to get the Night's Watch to spread themselves thin along the wall. We learned that from Donald Noy in Jon VI, that Bowen Marsh had taken the garrison all along the wall to repeal all those fake wildling attacks, which is why Sir Winton Stout was left, quote-unquote, in charge, on paper anyway. So yeah, there's no one else. Yeah, bottom line is they're actually short of personnel, as I said at the beginning of this commentary. So there's no one else, which is why Maester Aemon, quite simply, is saying, no, Jon. It must be you, Jon. Rise to the occasion. Besides, your latest evaluation report is quite impressive. Donald chose you, and Corin Halfhand before him. Lord Commander Mormont made you his steward. You are a son of Winterfell and nephew of Benjen Stark. It must be you or no one. The wall is yours, Jon. Good luck. Da, da, da. And this, my friend, is where Jon VIII from A Storm of Swords ends. Wow, okay. Relatively short chapter, a transition chapter, but an enjoyable, thoroughly enjoyable one. And I look forward to speaking to you again in the next commentary, which I imagine, if memory serves, will be an Arya chapter. At last, we catch up with Arya. And if you enjoy this sort of content, don't forget to do all the things that people do under such circumstances. And all the best. Speak to you soon. Bye.